This was the message that these Kosovo war veterans wanted to send to Serbia's president. Aleksander Vucic had been determined to visit a Serb-inhabited village surrounded by an Albanian population. The local mayor, a man who had lost his entire family in a crackdown by Serb forces 20 years ago, made it clear that he would not be welcomed.
15,000 people were killed here during the war and thousands are still missing. The Serbian president cannot pass through here without apologizing for the crimes that were committed by Serbia.
The wounds run deep in this corner of the Balkans. And patriotic fervour runs high. Serbia lost control of Kosovo nearly 20 years ago after a bitter conflict with rebels fighting for an independent state. NATO's intervention eventually brought the fighting to an end. But the government in Belgrade has never accepted Kosovo's 2008 Declaration of Independence. Addressing one of the most nationalist Serb communities in the region was always going to be a challenge for Mr. Vucic. The community here has always railed against compromise, but compromise is exactly what Mr. Vucic has been urging, saying that war and violence have only served to isolate the Serb community here.
Aleksander Vucic.
The idea is to save our people, our country, our institutions, to preserve peace and at least try to build bridges of trust towards the Albanians, to strive for an agreement even when we know it's nearly impossible, because the alternative leads up to an abyss and catastrophe.
The crowd may have listened and politely applauded, but not quite prepared to let go of the past.
We got the message that we should continue to stay here to fight for Kosovo until we die. Even then, our children will carry on.
We have to continue our presence here, and I believe better days are coming.
Those hopes rest on how both Serbs and Albanians can not only live together, but also thrive. This is one of the poorest regions in Europe, and both communities are equally affected. Joining the European Union would, many here hope, help financially, but there is much that needs to be done for that to happen.
We have no other alternative. Serbia cannot continue to talk of accession to the EU prior to normalising relations with Kosovo, and Kosovo, in turn, needs to fulfil its obligations prior to EU Parliament elections in the coming spring.
And in a region where the effects of war are still felt so vividly, where instability over ethnicity has blown up into conflict, its leaders must tread a careful path to ensure that a peaceful solution can be made strong enough to withstand any potential unrest. Sonia Gallego, Al Jazeera, Mitrovica.